Have you ever felt like you're treading water with your dog, you're not getting anywhere, but then suddenly people around you started to notice the difference and actually tell you that your dog's come a long way? In today's case, we have a very similar situation. We have a dog who used to be very dog reactive, and they kind of got stuck in that situation even though they used a lot of training. So stay tuned and have fun with this episode of A Dog Soul, and I'm Pav's Guide to Your Dog's Feelings. Alright, so today we're talking about Luna, the Labrador. She is 10 years old, and she started training with me because she had a leash reactivity issue with other dogs and some humans. But the main reason for training were dogs. And her mom told me that she would already react whenever she got the scent of another dog, which is pretty severe, right? If you have a dog who doesn't need to see the other dog and it's enough to smell him, that's tricky, right? And she had a lot of pre-training. So that team was one of the most well-trained teams I've ever worked with. They were amazing. They could do stuff that was just really advanced. And sometimes that intimidates me a little bit because I kind of start thinking, well, what do you need me for, right? I usually work with teams who don't have a strategy yet, who don't know about all things dog, right? How to get out of the situation, what to train, how to train it, and all these things. But this team, it was different. Luna's mom already knew a lot, and they had already done a lot of stress relief as well. So this is always something I start with first, because reactivity is very often a sign of a too high stress level overall. But they had already done that, and they had done a really good job. Now, there were still a few things we could improve, but we could get to training right away. So the whole process was a lot quicker, which is awesome, right? For her, because she can get through it a lot faster. For me, because we see results a lot faster and we can start celebrating, right? That's awesome. And when we actually took a look at what Luna's issue was, they were a lot further along the way than they had thought. So it was not that she reacted in a typical way to the smell of other dogs. They had gotten past that long before, but mom kept picturing Luna escalating. And this is something that gets stuck in our minds so often, right? If we have our dogs do something we really never want to see again, it kind of burns into our minds and we keep repeating it over and over and over again, even though the dog doesn't do it anymore. We are anticipating things going south all the time, and we have to stop that. At some point, we have to get over that because we can never relax if we are living in the past and we are reliving the horrors we have overcome already, right? We need to move along, and we need to move along with our dogs together. So what we did was we took a bunch of videos, right? I love videos in training. They give so much feedback and they are so awesome to just find out where we stand and how to proceed and if the training's working and if we missed anything, because we can rewind them, we can replay them, we can slow them down and all those things. We cannot do those things in real life, right? That's why video is such a great training tool. Now, for Luna, she had a much smaller distance than what we set as a starting point. Because, again, this was something that her mom anticipated, but it didn't really happen. So we cut the starting distance by, I think, about 3/4. So they started training a lot closer than they would have before. And what we also did, and this is something that happens a lot with very excitable dogs, working dogs in particular, but also very easily arousable dogs like terriers and shepherds and, well, the herding dogs in particular, but also the terriers, right? And that is we started implementing Luna's excitement level in the training, because what they had done before, and this is an awesome prep work, is to try and get her excitement level down and start training at a low excitement level. And that's awesome, right? Low excitement levels always help us with reactivity, and it helps us getting focus from our dogs, it helps us let them concentrate, and it helps us in training in general. But if we get stuck on always trying to have the excitement level low, we cannot reward very highly, because a high value reward always gets the excitement level up. That's natural. If you use a clicker or a marker signal, you will notice your dog's excitement level getting up as soon as he hears that sound. That's the same thing. The expectation of something awesome coming will always increase the excitement level. So yes, Luna had a high excitement level in general, and she was pretty quick with increasing that excitement level whenever it was pretty low. But again, if we try to keep the excitement level low at all costs and all the time, we will never push the threshold. We will never push our dogs to widen the comfort zone, right? Because as we approach the comfort zone, so the boundary of the comfort zone, we are automatically reaching higher excitement levels. That's normal. Now, if we get right onto the threshold, we will have a very high excitement level. But what our dogs need is the ability to not react and to do anything else, even if they are at a high excitement level. So we need to teach them that, actually. So what we did was, Luna got to the high excitement level, and we offered her something that matched that excitement level. And that was a bowling game. Now, a bowling game is pretty simple. You take a treat and you do the bowling motion. So the same body language motion you would do if you would throw a bowling ball, but with a treat. And you throw it away from the dog. So the dog can bounce after the treat. It's really fun for most dogs. And as soon as your dog has swallowed it, you turn around in the opposite direction and you throw the next treat. And before every throw, you say the word bowling. So whenever your dog hears the word bowling for the first time, he will know, oh, all right, this fun game's coming up. Awesome. And he will get in a high excitement level if the excitement level was low before. But if the excitement level was high before, this is a game that has actually a chance to get the dog's attention, even if other rewards or other strategies don't work anymore because the dog's too excited. So let's say the dog's seeing another dog and your dog's already getting in the mood, right? He's already showing some signs of stiff body language. He's fixating the other dog. He's closing the mouth. The tail goes up. The hackles go up. He leans forward. And when you present a treat at that moment, right in front of the dog's nose, that treat has to be really awesome to get the dog's attention. Chances are relatively high that your dog will ignore the treat and even get a little bit annoyed by you waving it into his face. Now, if you have played the bowling game before and your dog knows the bowling game and likes the bowling game, it has a pretty high chance of working even in that situation. And that's why we started with that for Luna, because it was something that could catch her even if the excitement level got too high. And it gave mom an outage to situations going south, right? Because if your dog's already in the mood for reacting, the situation has gone south, right? The threshold is just behind you now, you're over that, and your dog's getting ready. And having a strategy that gets you out of that situation is awesome. But it also works while approaching the threshold. We just have to lower the amplitude and we just have to watch the excitement level a little bit better. So for Luna, as long as she was curious but not that interested in another dog, we could catch her looking at mom because she had trained that so well and it worked really amazingly. And she would get a treat on the ground. That has a huge advantage too because it takes the nose down and automatically makes the dog's body language polite toward the other dog. Now, as soon as they got closer to another dog and Luna started to get a little bit nervous, but was still able to look at mom, she got the bowling game. And what that does was that Luna could get closer to the other dog very fast. And in the end, we just needed something to actually get past the other dog, because the bowling game is a little bit too fast for that, right? So whenever Luna's excitement level didn't get that high anymore, right? Because that's what happens. We started teaching walk with me. And walk with me, they already knew that, actually. We just took it into the situation they needed it. And a walk with me is pretty much like a heel. So the dog's walking very close to your leg and gets rewarded for that. The difference to a heel is that your dog doesn't need to look at you the whole time. If he checks in, fine, he gets a reward. But he doesn't need to look at you the whole time. He can look at the other dog, that's fine. And depending on how the other dog acts, right? So if the other dog is really calm and walking nicely and doesn't pay much attention, whatever, it doesn't really matter on which side your dog walks. But if the other dog is a little bit excited or tries to get to your dog or even starts reacting, the safer choice is to let your dog walk on your other side so that you are between you and your dog. Of course, Luna had already trained that. She was really amazing. Or she is really amazing. It's not that she's no longer, she is still thriving. So yeah, those are things she already knows, and they just had to be implemented into the situation with the other dog. And of course, mom is still watching the stress level, right? This is something that is super important for reactivity. So if you have a dog who is going crazy on leash or pulling like a maniac or constantly jumping on you or like chasing everything from a leaf to other dogs to a cat to every wildlife, whatever. Or if your dog's barking at every little sound. So all the things that are pretty annoying for us. Check the stress levels. See if your dog's sleeping enough. And yes, that can be a little tedious for us to do, but it's really important. And Luna's mom had already done that, and she was doing that on a regular basis. Not every day, but once in a while she just did a protocol of Luna's sleep and rest, and that was awesome. And another thing she had already done, which I would recommend as well, is she had already a health plan for Luna, because Luna was not 100% physically healthy, and she had already taken care of that. And she already knew which signs Luna showed whenever she wasn't feeling that hot, right? And this is something else we have to consider in the beginning. There might be something physically off. Doesn't have to be something huge, but it can be something that is just uncomfortable enough for your dog to be a little bit tense and a little bit edgy. And that can lead to reactivity again, right? So what I think this case tells us is that we should check in regularly. Not only how our dogs are feeling and if everything's still okay, if everything's going where we want it to go, but also where we actually are. So do videos. Check your videos from now against those you do 2 weeks from now. Has there been changes? Is your training working? Is anything going as well as you wanted to, or do you want to do any changes? Do you see something in your dog that you might have missed while training? Don't worry about it. Happens to all of us, right? And not only because the camera provides a different angle. That's a really nice advantage too, right? So I would love to know if this happened to you. Tell me in the comments or write me an email or a PM, whatever you would like. And tell me if you have ever thought you weren't getting any better, but somebody else noticed the difference in your dog. I would love to know. And if you need help with your reactivity training or with resource guarding or with any other fear aggression thingy, book a free call. The link's in the description. Let's see how I can help. And with that, have a lot of fun training, and we'll see each other next time. Bye.